we talk about spiritual awakening, many people envision a peaceful experience filled with Zen moments, deep meditations, and a constant state of happiness. The idea is that once we reach this point of enlightenment, everything becomes clear, balanced, and easy. However, the reality of spiritual awakening is rarely like this. What often actually happens is a whirlwind of changes, some of which may seem strange or even unsettling. These changes go beyond what we might expect, not only on the emotional or mental level, but also physically. Contrary to what many believe, spiritual awakening is filled with ups and downs. Moments of clarity followed by confusion, feelings of complete peace, but also feelings of being completely lost. Every step on this journey can bring something new and often unexpected. You may feel confused or even frightened by the changes you experience during your awakening, but this is completely natural. Each of these transformations, both internal and external, is part of the process. They are signs that something is being restructured within you. It's essential to understand that spiritual awakening isn't about reaching a permanent state of perfection or peace. In fact, it's a path of constant evolution. Along this path, strange changes can occur. Changes that may seem destabilizing at first, but are actually fundamental to our growth. During the spiritual awakening process, the most noticeable changes can happen in the body. These transformations can be so evident that you might often find yourself looking in the mirror and asking, "Who is this person?" Changes in facial features, weight, posture, and even the energy we emit can be so drastic that others may have difficulty recognizing us after a while. However, these changes are manifestations of a deeper process. The body, in its wisdom, is releasing stored traumas and dense energy accumulated over the years, often without us even realizing it. As you go through this journey of self-awareness and healing, the body begins to react. It adapts, reorganizes, and purifies itself in unexpected ways. These physical changes are signs that your body is adjusting to a new frequency, preparing to accommodate the expansion of your consciousness. The body is incredibly intelligent and often knows exactly what to do to release what no longer serves your evolution. Instead of fighting against these changes, it's essential to trust the process. For example, you may experience a sudden weight loss even without following drastic diets. The body may begin to lose weight as it releases emotional weight and energies accumulated over time, like excess water or fat built up from stress, unresolved traumas, or limiting beliefs. During this process, you begin to realize that you're not only releasing physically, but also emotionally. This dense energy, often carried for years through limiting beliefs or traumatic experiences, starts to be processed, and it directly impacts your physical appearance. This is the reflection of a deep inner change. The body responds to emotional and spiritual changes, just as the mind and spirit do. Sometimes the body's response may be temporary, such as weight gain due to water retention during the energy transition. But this phase will soon pass, making way for the release of energies and a renewed balance. The most important thing is not to get attached to the surface of these changes. When you notice your body transforming, trust in its natural intelligence. It's doing healing work that your conscious mind may not even perceive. Instead of trying to control or resist, we must learn to flow with the process, accepting the changes, knowing they are part of our growth. Trusting the process is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. As the spiritual awakening progresses, one of the most surprising changes is the transformation in the eyes. We're not just talking about a simple change in physical appearance, but a transformation that goes far beyond that. The eyes, as the windows to the soul, begin to reflect the deeper internal changes. When someone undergoes a spiritual awakening, something happens in their energy field. The dense energy accumulated over the years begins to be released, and with it, the emotions and traumas stored inside us. During this process, the eyes can become brighter, more alive, almost as if they were waking up from a long sleep. The brightness in the eyes can be seen not just as a physical change, but as a reflection of the purification occurring at a deeper level. These changes in the eyes are one of the visible signs that the inner work is being done. As you begin to release emotional and energetic blockages, clarity arises, not only mentally but throughout the body, including the eyes. The color, intensity, and liveliness of the eyes may change, sometimes subtly, other times more strikingly. What stands out is that the eyes begin to convey a powerful energy. They express authenticity, peace, and a direct connection with the person's essence. The brightness, liveliness, and clarity in the eyes are some of the most beautiful ways to witness someone's evolution during their spiritual awakening. This phenomenon is a direct consequence of the healing of traumas. All the unprocessed memories, past pains, and limiting beliefs we carry are released, leading to a true cleansing, which reflects in the brightness our eyes begin to exude. The gaze becomes more alive, more profound, and when looking at someone who has gone through this process, it feels like you're looking directly into their soul. This happens because when someone undergoes a deep spiritual transformation, the energy around them becomes clearer, lighter, and purer. The eyes, as mirrors of the soul, begin to reflect this internal clarity. It's no coincidence that it's said that when you look into someone's eyes, you can see their true essence. They reveal what cannot be spoken, what cannot be expressed in words. But spiritual awakening is not just about external or physical changes. It deeply affects who we are at our core, altering our perception of ourselves and the world around us. One of the most powerful and, at the same time, unsettling transformations during this process is the dissolution of the ego, known as ego death. The ego, that set of beliefs, identities, and defenses that shapes our perception of who we are, begins to disintegrate during awakening. This doesn't mean that the self disappears, but rather that the identity built throughout life, with all its limitations and false beliefs, starts to be questioned and dissolved. This process can be uncomfortable because it challenges us to let go of how we've always seen ourselves and the way we've built our lives and relationships. During this ego dissolution, our personal identity undergoes profound changes. What once seemed like a solid and well-defined version of ourselves starts to crumble, leaving a temporary void. The feeling of not knowing who we are anymore or not understanding our place in the world can be overwhelming. Many people going through this process experience moments of insecurity and disorientation. The old identity, rooted in past experiences and limiting beliefs, begins to crumble, and it's at this point that the true process of self-discovery begins to unfold. This is when we begin to question the foundation of our identity. We realize that what we thought was our identity no longer reflects who we truly are. The feeling of loss is real, and it's a challenge to deal with this internal transformation. However, it's important to understand that this process of ego death is essential for spiritual growth and evolution. When the ego dissolves, it opens up space for the true essence of being to manifest. It's not about losing your identity, but about allowing a more authentic version of yourself to take shape. Resistance to this transformation is often what causes the discomfort. When we learn to accept the changes and trust that we are being guided to a more truthful version of ourselves, the process becomes smoother. This momentary void, this feeling of being lost, is just a phase. It's temporary and necessary for something new and more aligned with our true nature to emerge. So, if you're experiencing this sense of disconnection from who you were before, know that it's part of a process of cleansing and liberation. The old self was tied to limiting ideas and behavior patterns that no longer serve the new path you're walking. It's a normal process, and though it may be challenging, It's also a sign that your awakening is happening in a deep and transformative way. During this journey, your identity will not be lost. It will be renewed and strengthened through connection with your deeper essence. The ego, with its limitations, gives way to a more expansive and authentic version of who you are. With spiritual awakening comes a new perception of the world around us. As the inner journey deepens, both physical and energetic sensitivity begins to expand, revealing dimensions of reality that were once hidden. The first sign of this heightened sensitivity is usually the perception that you feel everything more intensely. Emotions, both your own and others, become more apparent. You may notice someone's joy even before they smile or sense another person's discomfort without a word being spoken. In many cases, this ability to sense the emotions of others expands to such an intense level that it seems almost impossible not to absorb the vibrations of the environment around you. This can be both a blessing and a challenge. Feeling the world so deeply can be overwhelming, especially if you're not yet fully aligned with your own energy. As you become more sensitive, the work of clearing and balancing your own energy becomes even more crucial. If this video resonated with you, I invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. Share this video with others so they can benefit from this message. And don't forget to leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts, reflections, and experiences. Thanks again for watching and for joining me. Take care and see you soon.